Thanks, Dan and Louise, and welcome once again to Rip Off Britain, where we're live here in Glasgow, battling on your behalf against anything and anyone that's left you out of pocket.
And today you won't want to miss this, because we're going after the fraudsters who, especially cruelly, are deliberately targeting people looking for work.
With job scams up a staggering 300% in the last 2 years, we're going to make sure that you can spot which opportunities are real and which of them are entirely bogus.
We asked you to tell us what's left you feeling totally ripped off, and you've contacted us in your thousands. You've told us about the companies that you think get it wrong, and the customer service that simply is not up to scratch.
And when you have to call them, it takes ages, and somebody else answers the phone who pretty much doesn't know what you're saying.
You've asked us to track down the scammers who stole your money and investigate the extra charges that don't seem fair.
I think prices are going up and no one's actually doing anything to improve that.
And when you've lost out but no one else is to blame, you've come to us to stop others falling into the same trap.
When it comes to actual customer service, it's dreadful.
So whether it's a blatant rip-off or a genuine mistake, we're here to find out why you're out of pocket and what you can do about it.
Your stories, your money. This is Rip Off Britain. And a woman so frustrated with the quality of an item in all of our homes that she really did take matters into her own hands.
Look, here is the new Band-Aid plastic strip with new Super Stick. It sticks better than any other Band-Aid.
The humble plaster has become a first aid essential in our homes.
But a Band-Aid plastic strip with new Super Stick sticks tight instantly.
We've stuck with them for decades. Handywoman Anne Thornhill from Essex gets through a ton of them.
I work doing DIY and maintenance for older and disabled people, anything from decorating to gardening. I use plasters quite a lot, mainly because I'm always scratching and cutting myself at work and I end up buying loads of packets.
But on a recent job, wiping down some woodwork with soapy water, Anne noticed that the fabric plaster she was using didn't seem up to the job.
I had a cut on my finger, I put a plaster on, and it fell off very quickly, within a few seconds. And I thought, oh, that's not very good. And I found another packet, and that came off even quicker.
After testing no less than 5 brands of plaster that all came unstuck whilst doing the same activity, Anne is convinced that the quality of adhesive used by manufacturers on their plasters is not what it used to be.
For the same amount of money as you used to pay, you've now got a product that, to me, is inferior. It doesn't stay on. And what's the point of a plaster that doesn't stay on?
And according to former paramedic Steve Bray, who now supplies medical equipment, she may have a point.
The adhesives on the plasters have changed dramatically over the last 20 years. The industry has moved towards acrylic glues, far more skin-friendly. It's not as sticky, generally speaking, as the old-fashioned latex glues.
And it seems that our expectations may be a little too high.
Plasters generally shouldn't be worn as long as most people think. Ideally, the plaster should be changed every 24 hours.
But Steve says not all of them will last that long.
You do get what you pay for. If you're only going to spend £1 on a packet of plasters, they're going to fall off within the hour. You're just going to use 3 or 4 times as many plasters. So it's a false economy.
But it's hard to know which plaster brand to stick to, especially when it comes to their staying power around water. With the price varying from around 45p to £2.40 a packet, is water-resistant, waterproof, or even washproof best?
Washproof is designed for short-term use. Waterproof is much more substantial. And then water-resistant is basically the same as washproof.
Well, Anne is going to see which of those withstands water the best, with the help of her wife, Nat, and one of her customers, Julie. They're going to see how 3 types of plaster that all claim to repel water in some way react to getting wet. Julie's plaster is labelled as washproof. Nat is wearing one that's water-resistant. And Anne will test the one with the strongest claim, yes, waterproof. Their first test, 5 minutes of washing up.
Let's get washing up and test the plasters.
Clean.
And it's not long before the washproof plaster is out of the game.
It's come off. I put it on well tight. That wasn't much good, was it?
The water-resistant one is not far behind.
Oh, it's sliding off now.
But after 5 minutes, the waterproof plaster is still hanging on.
It's come loose round the top and the bottom, but the middle bit at the moment is still on.
A quick plaster change, and let's see how they manage after 5 minutes of cleaning with a damp cloth. Once again, the washproof plaster gives up first.
Oh, it's off, look. Oh dear.
But both the waterproof and the water-resistant plasters make it to the end.
It's got loose, but it stayed on.
But whilst Anne's plaster may have stayed on, it still let the water in.
Not overly impressed. Could be better.
For one last test, again with fresh plasters, our volunteers will wash their hands 5 times. It's the third wash that proves too much for the apparently washproof plaster.
It's coming loose completely. It's absolutely of no use whatsoever. Right, wash number 5.
After all 5 washes, the water-resistant and waterproof plasters are still sticking. But they haven't kept the water out.
Water resistance for me means is to keep the water away from the wound, but if it's going underneath, it's not much point really.
My plaster's very loose and it's very, very squidgy. Where the wound would be, there's no protection at all.
It seems Anne's worst fears are confirmed, and after all that, choosing which plaster to buy is still a bit of a sticky one.
You have an expectation that it's going to do a certain job, and quite clearly, it's not doing the job.
Oh, my goodness. Well, as soon as we mentioned plasters, Christopher Curtis emailed saying at that very moment he was putting one on and it wouldn't stick. Why, oh, why, he asks. Well, the manufacturers say that adhesion, that's stickability to you and me, can be affected by a variety of factors and has to be balanced with how easy they are to remove. Finally, Elastoplast, which, calling all trivia fans, you'll be glad to hear was granted the patent for the first ever medicated plaster back in 1882, says each new product undergoes more than 2,500 hours of rigorous testing to ensure efficacy, skin compatibility and the staying power. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
And that's where we're going to have to leave it for today. So thanks to all of our guests and most importantly to all of you for watching as well.
And do keep those comments coming. We're back tomorrow talking airline disruption with our favourite travel expert, Simon Calder.
Well, thank you so much for your company. Guess what? We'll do it all over again tomorrow at 9:15. Have a good day and we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.